I was with Victoria Vance for 7 years, and I spent all my savings to help her become a dazzling star in the business world. But the day her old flame returned, they put on a show of raw passion right in front of me. Victoria gave him the position, the shares, and the title he wanted. She reassigned me to the lowest paying job in the entire company, trying to force me out. But she'd completely forgotten that I was the backbone of this company. Without me, her company was doomed to fail. Pushing open the conference room door, I saw Victoria Vance at the head of the table, with Ethan Croft right beside her. They acted like a couple deep in love, their intimacy blatant, completely ignoring that this was the office. Victoria usually hated mixing business with pleasure. When Ethan Croft saw me, a mocking, triumphant smile spread across his face. He was Victoria's unforgettable first love. I'd seen him in a video once. The shareholders filling the room all had the look of people ready for a good show. Looks like Sincere Clark got dumped. You think he's going to cough up blood? He helped Miss Vance build this company from scratch and never took a single share. Miss Vance never cared about him. He just looks a little like Vice President Croft. She only ever saw him as a stand-in. Wait, Vice President Croft? Just 2 days ago, Victoria was sending me sweet messages on WhatsApp. Yesterday, Ethan Croft showed up, and today he has replaced me? Ethan stood up and lazily walked over to me, looking down his nose at me. The overpowering scent of his cologne made my head spin. I couldn't help but frown. Mr. Croft, have you had a career change? He acted as if he didn't understand the dig, waving a stamped, official-looking document in my face. Mr. Clark, effective today, you are removed from your position as vice president. You are being reassigned as a designer's assistant. The monthly salary is $2,000. From now on, I am the one and only vice president of this company. He poked my shoulder with his index finger and leaned in to whisper in my ear. Sonny, the company you fought for 7 years to build, it's mine now. Your woman? She's mine too. I met with Victoria yesterday, and today she called a shareholder meeting. Not only did she give me a position, but she also gave me 10% of the company's shares. Tisk, tisk, the woman you love doesn't give a damn about you. He chuckled softly. And you? You can either get lost on your own, or you can stay here and be a dog for me to order around. With that, he took out his phone and played a video for me. On the silent screen, 2 naked bodies were tangled together on my bed. They were completely engrossed. It was utterly disgusting. A sharp, stinging pain pricked at my heart. The woman I had stood by for 7 years was a rotten person. The love I had given for 7 years felt like a piece of rotting flesh. Cutting it out would be agonizing, but the pain is temporary. I had to cut my losses. Looking at the smug man before me, I had to admit his features did resemble mine. Victoria and I were college classmates and each other's first love. One day, in our 2nd year of dating, I was using her laptop and stumbled upon a file named, "One Day, You'll Come Back Begging." We had promised at the beginning of our relationship to have no secrets from each other. Curiosity got the better of me, and I opened the file. In the video, Victoria was on her knees holding a bouquet of flowers. Ethan Croft stood before her, mocking her condescendingly. "Vance, why don't you take a good look at yourself? A poor girl from the sticks like you thinks she's worthy of chasing me? Stop embarrassing me and get lost. If you bother me again, I'll make sure you don't graduate." Ethan snatched the bouquet and smashed it over Victoria's head. The rose thorns scraped her face, drawing beads of blood. A socialite-looking woman standing nearby stepped forward, slapped Victoria across the face, and spat a stream of curses at her. Then, she spat on her before walking away, laughing, with her arm linked through Ethan's. Victoria knelt there as if frozen, her head bowed for a long time, oblivious to the pointing and whispering of the people around her. I closed the video before it finished, completely stunned. She had never mentioned Ethan Croft to me. I never knew that the woman I loved so dearly had endured such humiliation. Yet the moment the man who had despised her back then decided to return, the doormat from all those years ago was placing him back on a pedestal. Chapter 2. I looked at the man in front of me and couldn't help but laugh. These days, professional homewreckers were making career moves into corporate vice presidencies, and they even had these stuffy old shareholders fawning over them. As I thought, they were all just useless opportunists. It was time to pull the weeds and deal with the dogs. I reached out and locked his phone screen. "Mr. Croft, I have to say I'm quite impressed. As the rightful partner here, I've had my title and position completely replaced by you. The best part is if I quit in a fit of rage, I won't get a cent of severance. But if I stay, I'll have to watch you two flaunt your love in my face every day, which is worse than swallowing a fly. Mr. Croft, this must be your most successful conquest as a homewrecker, isn't it? The expression on Ethan's face was priceless. The hunger for gossip in the shareholder's eyes intensified. Sincere Clark, that's enough. Victoria slammed her hand hard on the conference table. Ethan raised his hand to strike me, but I blocked it. Mr. Croft, don't tell me your father is also behind your decision to latch onto Ms. Vance now? After he rejected Victoria, he had relationships with several rich older women, all of which ended badly. Later, the Croft family's fortunes declined. To secure funding, his father made him become a kept man for a married woman. But the husband was no pushover, and Ethan was beaten in the street so badly he was nearly disfigured. The Croft family soon went bankrupt, and his father landed in prison. The last thing the rich woman did for him was to cover up these scandals. But I had still managed to get my hands on all the information about him. With nowhere else to turn, Ethan Croft found Victoria, and unexpectedly she still saw him as the cool, unattainable guy from campus. Ethan's eyes widened in fury. The next second, his body went limp, and he collapsed into the arms of Victoria, who had rushed to his side. He started sobbing. Victoria, I know Mr. Clark is hurt, but no matter how angry he is, I'll take it, whether he hits me or yells at me. But he shouldn't have brought my father into this. And, you should tell him, was I the one who interfered, or were you the one pursuing me all along? The look Victoria gave me was laced with poison. Sincere Clark, if you still don't get it, let me be blunt. We are broken up. If you dare bully Ethan again, I won't be so polite. Then she looked at Ethan in her arms with tenderness. Ethan, I already transferred $20 million this morning to take care of things for your father. Don't worry, your father's business is my business. She looked up at me, her eyes devoid of any warmth. That's right. I've been pursuing Ethan all these years. I never liked you. Ethan, who had been rubbing his eyes, broke into a teary smile. He shot me a sidelong glance, one corner of his mouth curling up as he secretly gave me the middle finger. Suppressing the fire in my heart, I looked directly at this woman who had become a stranger to me. Victoria Vance, when my father needed heart surgery, I asked you for $50,000. You didn't give me a single cent. So what if I didn't? Your father didn't die, did he? I had only found out about this yesterday. Back then, Victoria had insisted on starting a company, refusing to work for anyone else. My family put up $500,000, my parents' entire life savings. Her family contributed $100,000. That $600,000 became our startup capital. She said I had a talent for design and was adamant about opening a fashion design company. I was incredibly moved at the time and worked myself to the bone, sketching designs for the company day and night. But in the second month after we started, my father had a heart attack and needed surgery. He called Victoria for $50,000, but she told him all the money was invested and there wasn't a spare cent. She even said that it was my decision. In the end, my mother had to beg relatives for the money, enduring countless scornful looks and taunts that she was a fool who had given away both her daughter-in-law's family's money and her own son. Fortunately, my father recovered well after the surgery. Chapter 3, I couldn't hold back any longer and slapped Ethan hard across the face. Sincere Clark, are you insane? Ethan shrieked, clutching his face. My fingertips had grazed his cheek. He looked like he wanted to hit back, but instead he crumpled back into Victoria's arms, crying and wiping his tears. Rage burned within me. Victoria Vance, this is what you owe me. And my family, sensing trouble, the shareholders quickly filed out of the room. Victoria's face was cold as ice. Sincere Clark, I never knew you were the kind of man who would resort to violence. I should have broken up with you long ago, I laughed, a laugh born of pure fury. Should have broken up with me long ago? Victoria Vance, you played your cards beautifully. When you insisted on starting this business, you were just betting on whether you could win. Win, and you'd have a chance to get Ethan Croft back. And you were right, you won. You also got arrogant. With a wave of your hand, you gave him 10% of the shares, while I, your partner who struggled with you from the very beginning, never received any extra compensation. Instead, you kicked me to the curb without a second thought. Victoria showed no sign of panic at being exposed. She was perfectly composed. Since you already know, I might as well tell you. It's a good thing Ethan came back. If he hadn't, I might have settled for you. Sincere, Clark. You're very capable professionally, but you're just not smart enough. You're too easy to deceive. All I had to do was whisper a few sweet nothings, and you were willing to kill yourself for me and the company." Her words were like 1,000 arrows piercing my heart. In that moment I made a decision. Fine. I thank you for your honesty, Victoria Vance. I will be there to watch you fall." I turned and walked out of the conference room. Behind me, I heard Ethan's curses. "Victoria, do you think that bastard will quit now?" "He definitely will. I provoked him on purpose. He won't get a single penny of compensation on the way back to my office." My mind replayed the past 7 years of struggle. In the early days of the business, Victoria spent her days at endless dinners, drinking until she was hospitalized with stomach bleeding multiple times. Yet she never managed to get a single business card from those potential partners. We worked through the night almost every day. For a while, my hair was falling out in clumps, and my health suffered. The $600,000 disappeared quickly, and we fell deep into debt with the bank. Back then, we would put on a show of generosity, treating people to dinner, and after politely seeing them off, we would pack up the leftovers for our meal the next day. To save money, we'd often take 5 or 6 different buses and then walk 2 kilometers back to the office. During the sweltering summer, to save on air conditioning, the entire office had only one standing fan, and that small, mold-infested office was our company by day and our home by night. Despite those humiliating and difficult times, fortune did not smile upon us. We were drowning in debt, until one day Victoria fell into a deep sleep for 2 days after a night of drinking, and I panicked. I stopped my frantic, round-the-clock sketching, and went out to find a lifeline. Everything turned around. We started turning a profit, gained some recognition, and eventually partners were lining up at our door begging to work with us. We made an incredible amount of money. The company grew larger and larger, and Victoria's face appeared in the business section of magazines more and more often. But she always refused to talk about marriage or our personal relationship. She never gave me a single share of the company's stock. I was just like any other employee, earning a salary that matched my position. Chenyu Design Company Limited, she'd always said the name, meant remember where you came from. It turned out the company name itself was just a tribute to the two of them. So be it. It was all a calculated scheme. But Victoria had forgotten something. After all these years of devotion to the company, if I could build it up and hand it all to her, I could also take it all back. Chapter 4. When I reached my office, I found all my personal belongings stuffed into a large black trash bag, slumped crookedly by the door. My desk was now covered with Ethan Croft's things. The employees I had mentored looked at me with red-rimmed eyes, full of anger and sorrow. "Don't be upset. This is a good thing." I smiled to reassure them. "Mr. Clark, that scheming pretty boy stole everything from you. How can you be happy about it?" said Lily Shaw, the young lady closest to me, wiping away tears of indignation. I patted her on the shoulder. Even fate is on my side. I gave them a rough outline of my plan, and the looks on their faces transformed from resentment to excitement and anticipation. "Don't worry, Mr. Clark. We'll stick to our posts and do our jobs well." I nodded in satisfaction. Just then, Ethan's loud, excited voice, laced with fawning flattery, echoed down the hall. "Ah, Miss Sterling, you're here. Your presence truly brightens up our company." Through the floor-to-ceiling glass wall, I saw the formidable businesswoman in the hallway, Isabel Sterling, her face stern behind dark sunglasses. She was the chairman of the Oriental Group, known for her swift and decisive actions. Through the glass, Ethan shot me a triumphant and provocative look. The emotions my colleagues had just managed to suppress flared up again. "Mr. Clark, you've been handling the collaboration project with Miss Sterling for so long, and now she's just going to steal the final result." I was unconcerned. "You can only eat as much as your bowl can hold. I'm afraid our Mr. Croft has the appetite, but not the stomach for it." All the gloom lifted at once. They understood my meaning and returned to their desks, reassured. I picked up the trash bag from the floor and walked to a desk in the farthest corner. It was the workstation Ethan had assigned me, covered in dust. I cleaned up my things and sat down to organize my next steps. A moment later, a shadow fell over me. Ethan leaned over my desk, his hands planted on the surface, looking down at me. "I've heard you have a strong stomach, Sonny Clark, and today I've seen it for myself. Your woman and your job have been stolen. And even $100 million project was snatched away by me. Yet you can still stay here quietly and be a dog. Do you really not care, or are you trying to win Victoria back? Let me tell you, I love stealing other people's partners. I couldn't do anything to the people who bullied me in the past, but you're different. I want you to watch with your own eyes as Victoria and I walk down the aisle. He leaned closer. Oh, and by the way, I plan to send you the videos and pictures of our passionate nights together the next day. We can enjoy them together. You really should learn how to keep a woman. I couldn't help but let out a snort of laughter. Mr. Croft, are you really that proud of what you've done? Don't forget why your father is in prison. This time it was your father. Who knows who it'll be next time? Also, what's the fun in sending your videos and pictures to just me? Why not send them to the entire company so everyone can appreciate them? Ethan's face changed, but he quickly composed himself. Sonny Clark, am I to understand that you're just trying to save face? Forget it. You're just a poor fool abandoned by a woman. Go get me a glass of water. I remained seated and dismissed him. Aren't you afraid I'll poison it, Mr. Croft? It's working hours. You shouldn't be standing here distracting me from my work. Having failed to get a rise out of me, Ethan was furious. He stood up straight and clapped his hands loudly. Today is my first day as vice president, and I've also signed a huge contract. Tonight, I'm treating everyone to dinner to celebrate. Everyone except Sincere Clark. He's staying behind to prepare the materials for tomorrow's meeting. Cheers erupted in the office, and many colleagues immediately began to flatter him. I watched the scene unfold, unmoved. After work, Ethan walked out with his arm around Victoria, surrounded by a crowd of fawning employees. Everyone was praising him, saying the new boss was making a strong start, handsome and capable. Ethan looked back, gave me a defiant smile, and then leaned in to kiss Victoria on the cheek. The cheering grew louder. Chapter 5. A short while later, they arrived at the restaurant. Ethan and Victoria were leading the way, but when they turned around, they saw everyone crossing the road. Hey, where are you all going? Ethan yelled. The colleagues turned and waved at the two of them. Thanks for covering our cab fare, but we only have plans with Mr. Clark. From across the street, standing at the window of a private dining room, I raised my glass of red wine to Ethan in a mock toast. Ethan was about to explode with anger. If any of you dare to go to that useless person Sincere Clark's party today, I'll fire you tomorrow. The employees walked on with confident strides, their backs to him. Whatever. This company is rotten anyway. A company where a homewrecker can call the shots? Fire away. Victoria's face turned ashen. Take one more step, and I'll dock half a month's pay from all of you. The colleagues just laughed. You think you can scare us? Soon the private room I was in was buzzing with energy. Everyone celebrating without a care in the world. Just then, Ethan and Victoria appeared at the restaurant's entrance but were stopped by security. I'm sorry, this is a members-only establishment. Ethan rolled his eyes. It's just about money, isn't it? Fine. How much is a membership? Apologies, but our owner has specified that anyone can become a member, except for the two of you. Ethan shrieked with rage. Who is your owner? Who get him out here? The security guard's mouth twitched. I'm very sorry, but the owner said he has no interest in communicating with scumbags. Scumbags? Who the hell is your owner? You better tell me right now. I'm going to expose you all online. As a crowd began to gather, Victoria, unable to bear the humiliation, dragged Ethan away. But Ethan, still fuming, came and stood under our window and started shouting my name and cursing. My colleagues shook their heads. Miss Vance must be blind. How could she fall for a guy like that? Well, birds of a feather flocked together. At that moment, someone picked up a glass of wine, walked to the window, and dumped it out with a splash. Oops, there was a bug in my wine. A squeal like a stuck pig came from Ethan below. Who was that? Who poured wine down here? Others quickly followed suit. Caught completely off guard, Ethan was drenched in wine. Just then, my phone rang. It was Victoria. I was about to decline the call, but someone gestured for me not to. They took my phone, answered it, and put it on speaker. Sincere scumbag woman, scumbag woman, scumbag woman. Everyone chanted in unison, their powerful voices echoing through the room. Victoria didn't get a chance to say another word. She eventually hung up and dragged the pathetic Ethan away. I looked at these colleagues, all around my age, who had fought alongside me, and a smile touched my lips. I knew they were standing up for me. Some of them had been recent graduates unable to find a job. Others had been laid off from other companies. I gave them a chance. I never demanded overtime, never promoted a toxic work culture, ensured all public holidays were observed, and even provided menstrual leave for female colleagues and 5 unhappy days off for everyone. Our benefits were superior to any other company in the industry. As a result, our company had an extremely low turnover rate and exceptionally high productivity. We became the benchmark in our field, but our competitors could never replicate the essence of our management style. This was also why Victoria refused to give me any shares. She said I wasn't a competent entrepreneur. That night, Victoria announced her and Ethan's engagement on her personal and company social media accounts. In her explanation for our breakup, she took several thinly veiled shots at me. "You two should lock it down forever, and please don't re-enter the market to harm anyone else." Colleagues flooded the comments section with messages like this, and Victoria quickly disabled comments. She was just trying to get back at me for Ethan. Chapter 6. When payday arrived, as expected, everyone's salary was cut in half, including mine. But no one seemed to care. After the dinner incident, Ethan knew the staff wasn't on his side. He started nitpicking at everything, trying to drive everyone away and replace them with obedient followers. But he was unwilling to pay severance, so he tried to make their lives miserable until they quit on their own. No one paid any attention to his passive-aggressive behavior and continued to work diligently. After a month, the design drafts submitted to him were clearly just token efforts. Everyone sent their real work to my email, and I continued to provide guidance and revisions. After all, Ethan was an amateur. The atmosphere in the company became a huge headache for Victoria, but she couldn't bring herself to criticize Ethan in the slightest. But her beloved was pushing her into an abyss. One day, Isabel Sterling's phone rang. After months of being unable to provide new samples, Victoria was at her wit's end. Her voice was hoarse, and she sounded like she was about to kneel and beg over the phone. "Miss Sterling, Ethan is the new vice president and wasn't very familiar with the contract details, so he didn't read it carefully before signing. It's all Sincere Clark's fault for not handing things over properly. Could you please be merciful and void this contract? Can we please sign a new one?" Isabel leisurely sipped her tea. "Miss Vance, I'm a businesswoman. Breaching contracts is not my style." Victoria panicked. Miss Sterling, could we please meet in person? The penalty for breach of contract is not a small sum." "A meeting is fine, Miss Vance. However, the only place I'll be seeing you is in court." Isabel hung up. Victoria kept calling back, but Isabel simply ignored the calls and set her phone to silent. "Scumbag woman, I despise people who betray trust." When Isabel looked at me, her face was full of frustration and anger. "Xian, I feel so bad for your past 7 years. The penalty is $200 million. I'll transfer it to you tonight." "No, Izzy, we split it 50-50 as we agreed." Isabel was displeased. "You don't see me as a friend, do you? Xian, I never intended to split this money with you. It rightfully belongs to you. You gave so much for her. No one knows better than me what you've been through these 7 years. And I love taking out the trash around me." In the early days of the business, when we were on the verge of giving up, I went out searching for a way to survive. That's when I met the most important person in my life, my friend, Isabel Sterling. On a scorching summer day, after being rejected by more than 10 factories, I dejectedly boarded a bus back to the office. Suddenly, a middle-aged man sitting in front of me clutched his chest and cried out in pain, looking like he was about to collapse. The young woman beside him screamed in terror. Dad, what's wrong? Don't scare me." Without a second thought, I took out the heart medication from my bag, popped out a pill and gave it to him. I had just bought it for my own father at a pharmacy earlier that day. "Hey, what did you give my father? If anything happens, I'll never forgive you." Isabel glared at me furiously. She even demanded the driver take the bus to the police station. I was extremely anxious myself. What if I had given him the wrong medicine? Chapter 7. Fortunately, Mr. Sterling started to recover. He slowly sat up straight. "Thank you. My doctor warned me that my heart might..." He sighed. "I'm getting old, I have to accept it." "Dad, you're not old at all. I'm taking you to the hospital for a full checkup right now. Don't overthink it." After she finished, she glanced at me, the hostility in her eyes completely gone. "Thank you." Her tone was awkward, which made me smile. Isabel got angry again. "What are you smiling at? From that day on, we became friends. When Isabel was very young, her mother abandoned her and her father. Mr. Sterling raised little Isabel on his own, turning a small workshop into a small factory, then a large one, and eventually the largest garment manufacturing plant in the region, with endless orders and profits. But suddenly, rumors about Mr. Sterling began to spread everywhere, and their business partners looked down on them. Mr. Sterling valued his reputation more than money, and being older, he couldn't handle the stress and eventually collapsed. The factory's problems snowballed overnight, like a flood from a broken dam, completely uncontrollable. They laid off their employees and planned to use their remaining funds to start a small, quiet business. That's when we met. Grateful for my help, Isabel offered to take on my orders for free before the factory completely shut down. That was how Chenyu Designs survived. Once our clothes hit the market, they were an instant hit with young people, and follow-up orders skyrocketed. Their factory became busy once again. Isabel had her father rest and took over management of the factory. She was never one to admit defeat, and certainly didn't care about baseless slander. From then on, the small factory transformed again, once more becoming a giant in the industry. Isabel's reputation as a powerhouse businesswoman spread, and those who had crossed her met with miserable ends. Isabel gave a wry smile. Do you know who spread those rumors about my father back then? It was my mother. She saw my father was making money, so she came back asking for some. When he refused, she came up with a vicious plan. If she couldn't have it, no one could. She tilted her head back and drained the tea from her cup. The only reason I didn't completely destroy her was because of my father. He refused to give her money, but he was still holding onto a sliver of hope that she would come back. My father had never really let her go. Chapter 8. Of course, Victoria wasn't going to face Isabel in court. She had no choice but to transfer the $200 million. News of this spread quickly, and the industry rumor was that Victoria was unfit to manage Chenyu, and the company would go bankrupt sooner or later. Hearing the news, partners began contacting Victoria to inform her they would not be renewing their contracts. Soon, Chenyu Company's cash flow broke down. Victoria walked around the office every day with a dark expression, berating department heads mercilessly, but she never uttered a single word of criticism toward Ethan. The entire company was filled with complaints, but no one dared to speak up. The turnover rate was terrifyingly high. The company fell into a vicious cycle of decline. Just as the company was on the brink of bankruptcy, an investor suddenly injected capital. Chenyu was brought back to life. Victoria and Ethan became even more brazen in the office, constantly kissing and cuddling. Ethan called me into his office. He tapped away at his keyboard while boasting, "I've put on quite a show for you. How does it feel, Sonny Clark? Pretty satisfying, huh? But let me tell you, this new investment is all thanks to me." I looked at his smug face. "But Ms. Vance's shares are almost all sold off because of you." He looked up and glared at me. "What do you mean? Don't think I don't know what you're up to. You want the company for yourself. Sonny Clark, you're dreaming. This company will be destroyed before it ever falls into your hands. You don't have the capital." I was confused. "Vice President Croft, why do you hate me so much?" He smiled. "Hate you? No, I just want to completely crush the original partner. I've never been this successful before, and you just happen to be in the line of fire. That's the reason." So, Ethan was a madman. He had interfered with those rich women's lives and been beaten down by their partners too many times. He needed to reclaim his pride at my expense. Soon, it was time for the annual industry gala, an event attended by all the big names. To my surprise, Ethan Croft was there. He was dressed in a custom-tailored suit, holding a glass of red wine and strutting through the banquet hall like a proud peacock, constantly taking pictures with his phone and posting them on social media. He even had a young woman following him, recording a video for a live stream. He was acting like a celebrity. Ethan had never attended such a grand event before. What kind of riffraff are they letting in here? It's polluting the air and lowering our standards. I'd love to smack that look off his face. He's a professional homewrecker, a kept man who'll do anything for money. A group of wealthy businessmen gathered together, their disdain for Ethan palpable. Isabel clinked her glass with mine. "Let him have his moment," I smiled. "He has no idea this will be the highlight of his life." A short while later, Victoria burst into the venue. She walked up to Ethan, her eyes shining. "Ethan, you look so handsome today with that." Victoria dropped to one knee, holding a bouquet of flowers in one hand and a massive diamond ring in the other. "Ethan, will you marry me?" Unexpectedly, there was no cheering or congratulations, only sighs and scorn. Isabel sneered. How disgraceful. Victoria looked at Ethan expectantly, but his gaze was fixed on me. "Sincere Clark, this is the scene you've been waiting for, isn't it?" How about I transfer this proposal to you? Victoria's face changed dramatically. Ethan, we have so many witnesses. You can't make a joke like this. Ethan chuckled. Miss Vance, you didn't really think I would say yes, did you? Your company is almost gone, and your shares are almost gone. What would I gain by being with you? Chapter 9. The color drained from Victoria's face. Ethan, you... Ethan raised a hand, and a young assistant behind him stepped forward with a document. Miss Vance, perhaps you should take a look at this. Victoria's expression shifted from confusion to fury, the veins on her forehead throbbing. Ethan Croft, what is the meaning of this? Ethan took a delicate sip of his wine. It means the board of directors is kicking you out. Miss Vance, you have nothing now. Why would I possibly accept your proposal? Oh, and by the way, the person who acquired your company and shares is my new girlfriend, and my fiancée. The same scene was playing out again. Victoria threw down the flowers and the ring and lunged forward, trying to strangle Ethan, but my bodyguards intercepted her. Ethan Croft, you venomous man, you came back to me just to scheme for my company. I was so blind to believe your lies because of you. I lost Sincere, and now I've lost my company. I'm going to take you down with me today. Victoria was held fast by the bodyguards, unable to move. Ethan stepped forward and lifted her chin with his hand. You're wrong. I came to you hoping you could get my father out of prison. But you're useless. You couldn't do anything, and you even lost the company. So pathetic. Just then a refined woman with gold-rimmed glasses walked over. Ethan's expression instantly changed to one of fawning tenderness. My dear Martha, you're here? He immediately linked his arm with the woman's, their intimacy on full display. You'll sleep with anyone, won't you? Look at her, she's old enough to be your mother. Victoria shrieked. Ethan was unconcerned. Victoria, you're just a broke loser now. My current girlfriend has dozens of overseas companies, is worth tens of billions, acquired your company, and can get my father out of prison. So what if she's a bit older? I'm happy. Ethan Croft, you bastard, you'll die a horrible death. Victoria struggled and screamed curses as the bodyguards dragged her out of the venue. After all, this gala was hosted by Isabel. I wasn't going to let this low-class drama play out for long. The hall fell temporarily quiet. Ethan, with Martha Cole on his arm, walked up to me, overcome with triumph. Sincere Clark, I don't know how you managed to sneak into this event, but the woman you love is now a penniless nobody, and the company you wanted now belongs to me and my dear Martha. If you get on your knees and beg me, I'll let you stay at Chenyu. Is that so? I asked. Ethan gave Martha a look full of affection. Go on, Neil, I'm a man of my word. But then, Martha abruptly shook off Ethan's arm and stood by my side. She was incredibly respectful. Mr. Clark, I apologize for what you've had to endure. Ethan froze, unable to process what was happening. He pointed between me and Martha. You two, what is this? I smiled as I watched his expression shift from confusion to horror. Let me introduce you. Your dear Martha is my housekeeper. Martha picked up where I left off. Mr. Croft, we're breaking up. Ethan shrieked, what the hell is going on? I produced a contract and showed it to him. Actually, the one who acquired the company and the shares was me, not Martha. She was just acting on my behalf. Mr. Croft, I should thank you. If you hadn't worked so hard to coax Victoria into selling her shares, I never would have been able to push her out. Also, the person who told you I was planning to take over Chenyu and win Victoria back, which spurred you to act so quickly. That was also part of my plan. You should know, the employees I mentored would never betray me. The documents and photos Martha showed you of her overseas companies were all fake. Mr. Croft, we're even. Ethan's eyes were bloodshot. He screamed at the top of his lungs. Martha, you promised I sold my shares to you. You promised you would get my father out and give me an overseas company. Was that all a lie? Martha adjusted her glasses. Mr. Croft, I suggest you get a grip. Your father is never getting out of prison. And yes, I was just using you. Upon hearing this, Ethan, like an enraged beast, lunged at me. He was intercepted by my bodyguards. Sincere Clark, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. Ethan was thrown out, just like Victoria. Chapter 10. After the 2 dramatic episodes, I had the staff quickly clean up the venue, and finally there was peace. Martha Cole approached me. Mr. Clark, about what you promised. I immediately transferred $20 million to her, and she left satisfied. That was the deal we had made. Just then, Isabel emerged from backstage. I felt a little uneasy. Do you think giving her that money for your father's sake will make her change her ways? Isabel shook her head. Martha Cole was Isabel's mother. After she abandoned their family, Isabel took her mother's surname. Isabel stared blankly in the direction Martha had left. She caused my father's heart condition. Thankfully, he's recovered and has moved on, now seeing her as a stranger. Xian, thank you. This time I used you to get my own revenge. I clinked my glass with hers. We agreed, didn't we? We'd take down the scumbags together. The company was back in my hands. The first thing I did was get rid of the old shareholders, whose shares had already been sold. I doubled the salaries of my loyal employees, and my inbox was once again flooded with job applications. Isabel and I announced a high-profile partnership, and our previous partners came flocking back, begging to work with us. Shen you know, it was now Clark Sterling Designs became a leading enterprise in the fashion world. I managed the company alone, but I was earning more than ever before. One day I was at home cooking when the doorbell rang. On the monitor was Victoria's haggard face. She looked utterly worn out and spoke in a low, submissive voice. Xian, please forgive me. I was blind before. We went through 7 years of ups and downs together. Please, give me one more chance. She banged on the door with all her might. I opened the door a crack, and Victoria immediately dropped to her knees. Xian, please give me and give our past 7 years a chance. I looked down at this stranger, of a woman, my heart completely still. Miss Vance, the moment you demoted me, it was over between us. Victoria shot up, a dagger suddenly pressed against my neck. Her face twisted into a strange, terrifying smile. Sincere Clark, if you won't agree, then you might as well die, thud. Victoria stared at me, her body went limp, and she collapsed. Behind her stood Isabel, holding a fire extinguisher. She dropped the extinguisher on Victoria's body and dusted off her hands. Good thing I got here in time. You really shouldn't have opened the door for her. Ever since I took over the company, Isabel and I had become neighbors. I was still shaken. I had no idea she had fallen this far. The police arrived quickly. As Isabel and I ate our meal, we watched the news on TV. Ethan Croft was dead. He had been dragged into a car by Victoria, driven to the seaside, his hands and feet bound, a large rock tied to his feet, and thrown into the ocean. No matter how resourceful Ethan was, there was no chance of survival. After sinking him into the sea, Victoria had come to find me, already in a murderous rage. But I had no idea what had happened. Thank goodness Isabel was there, or things could have ended very differently. Martha Cole was dead. She was a gambler. I had promised her $20 million to pay off her debts in exchange for her help. After it was all over, she got entangled with Ethan Croft again. After a night of passion, Ethan stabbed her in the carotid artery. Isabel was silent for a long time. Finally, she managed a faint smile. I knew she would end up like this. In a way, it's revenge for my father. Xian, don't worry. She never fulfilled her duties as a mother. I don't feel sad for her at all. I took her hand. From now on, things will only get better for us. When the news alert about Victoria's execution popped up on my phone, I was sitting next to Isabel on a plane headed to a tropical island. Through the thick clouds, the sun was bright and dazzling. I turned to look at Isabel, who was engrossed in reviewing some documents, and I couldn't help but smile. From now on, there was nothing but good days ahead.